we're standing on the street in downtown Atlanta, and we just saw a kids' film, and we're going to talk about it. I'm Jonathan Hickman.
And I'm Jeff Marker.
And you're watching The Film Fix. Here's a clip from Despicable Me.
Now, we have located the shrink ray in a secret lab, and once we take this shrink ray, we will have the capability to pull off the true crime of the century. We are going to steal. Wait! I haven't told you what it is yet. Hey, Dave, listen up, please. Next, we are going to steal. Pause for effect.
So, Jeff, Universal gets into the animation game big time this week with Despicable Me. It's got a great cast, all-star voice talent, and tell us, what do you think?
Well, that's an interesting way to start talking about it, actually, because Universal released the Tales of Despereaux, which it was kind of a mediocre movie, and unfortunately it came out in a year when we had a lot of great animated films.
True.
Despicable Me comes at a very different time. Toy Story 3 is making all sorts of money, but the fact is that's the only other animated movie to make any kind of a splash this year, and so there's sort of room for another animated movie, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know. I think that's an overstatement. How to Train Your Dragon made great money at the box office.
Sure, and it's been gone for a long time.
That's true, and Shrek made good money this year, and now we have, of course, Toy Story 3 eating up the box office, 2 weeks at #1, and now Despicable Me hits at, you say, a good time, but I think we've had a lot of successes this year with animated films.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that.
There you go.
Shrek 4. Yeah, Despicable Me, it's not a very complex scenario, actually. We have Gru, who is a super villain, and he's voiced by Steve Carell, who's very funny. He does a sort of Eastern European accent. It might be Romanian, I'm not sure. They have a bit of a setup where Gru has a rival. He's trying to be the biggest, baddest villain on the planet. That's really just kind of a big ruse to set up a scheme, to create a scheme that Gru tries to go after his rival, Vector, and he uses these 3 little orphan girls as part of his scheme, and that's really the draw here. It's a big, bad supervillain who has 3 cute and cuddly girls, and I wonder what's going to happen.
It felt a little bit like The Rescuers when you're talking about the girls. It has a real heart. The 3 little girls, they're orphans, and Gru's evil side is tamed a bit by him. So
I don't give away the ending. I mean, nobody would possibly expect that that's where this was going to go, right?
Well, you know, the movie is really funny in places because at one point Gru goes to a bank, and of course he has to go to the Bank of Evil because he is a bad guy. And below it says Bank of Evil, formerly Lehman Brothers, right? Or
Lehman Brothers.
Yes.
You're right.
So it's like, here's a movie that has a little bit of humor that we could appreciate that the kids might not.
And combined with that, though, there's some kind of smart humor for the adults, but there's a lot of slapstick humor because Gru has these little minions who look just like this, and he seems like he has hundreds of these little guys, and they're really funny. That's what the kids are going to remember. So, you know, it's a family movie in that sense. It's not very complex, but I think it works despite that. You sort of know where all of this might be headed, and yet, I got to admit, it kind of got to me by the end, even though I could kind of see it down the road.
Well, you know, and we learned this with the first Shrek movie, and that is that you have to have a kick-in soundtrack, and this film really does. I mean, there's this kind of light kind of groove going when Gru comes on the scene, and he's being evil to everyone, and the music just kind of continues to build from there.
Yeah.
And
Hans Zimmer does the score, but then Pharrell Williams does a lot of original songs, and they're very good. He's a good songwriter. He makes good hip hop pop music.
It might be worth buying, and the kids will definitely appreciate it. And
one point I wanted to make about this, we have criticized so many movies this year for being in 3D for no reason.
Right.
This is a movie that actually uses the 3D.
It does, and it uses it even toward the closing credits. I implore you to continue watching after the film is over, because they have a lot of fun with the length of the ladder and all these kind of neat things, and it's sort of what the gimmick is all about. Airbender last week was sort of shameful because what it did was it used 3D just to eke a few more dollars out.
Yeah,
and,
like most of them do.
That's right. That's right.
But this one, they actually find, and it's kind of a flimsy reason, but actually they find a reason to sort of take us to an amusement park, and they use a 3D there.
That's right.
But then there are times when it just sort of works for the moment in the story that the 3D actually does enhance it. And so, if we're going to dog on all these other movies, we've got to give props for a movie that actually makes use of the 3D.
It's worth the 3D because obviously it's made for 3D.
Come on now, it's bedtime. Did you brush your teeth? Let me smell. Let me smell. You did not. Put on your PJs. Hold still. Okay, seriously, this is very bad. Time, right now. I'm not kidding around. I mean it.
But we're not tired.
Well, I am tired.
Will you read us a bedtime story?
Oh, fine.
All right. Sleepy kittens. Sleepy kittens. 3 little kittens love to play. They had fun in the sun all day. Wow, this is garbage. You actually like this?
Did you get your fix from Despicable Me?
I did get my fix from Despicable Me. It's not that it's the best animated movie to come out this year. I'll leave that open. But it was a heck of a lot of fun, and it eventually kind of develops a heart that I think is kind of irresistible.
Yeah, I too did get my fix. Marginally so, though. I had a problem, I think, with the narrative. I felt like what they did was give us a lot of evil and not show us that there was any balance in the world of Gru. Bad guys, I suppose, are celebrated. They kind of parade openly throughout the streets and do a bunch of bad things. Aside from that, though, the movie does find its way, particularly in the latter part of the film.
It gets better as it goes.
The use of 3D is probably the best use of 3D in an animated picture I've seen this year.
Yeah.
So I think that alone makes it worth recommending.
Absolutely.
So, well, as always, you've been watching The Film Fix. I'm Jonathan Hickman.
I'm Jeff Marker.
And you can visit us on the web by going to dailyfilmfix.com, where you can feed your movie addiction.